What's up, everybody? It's Jordan from Pianote here. We're learning a new song every Friday, and this week it's Someone Like You from Adele. So this is an epic, emotional piano ballad. There's a lot of epic piano acrobatics that are going to happen in this song. It's all about the arpeggio, which is just a sort of a fancy way of saying like a broken chord. So let's get started. We're going to look at what the verse progression is here. So the verse sounds like this. All right, so that's the verse progression, and one thing that's really useful to know right off the top is there's this consistent right-hand pattern that goes all the way throughout the whole song. So if you just look at how I'm playing this very first chord, you'll know what I'm talking about here. Here's the first chord, but the right hand's always going bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom, middle, top, middle. Then when you change chords, bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom, middle. So this whole pattern is going to be consistent throughout the whole song in all of its parts. So if we look at what the chords are, I'm just going to play them solid here. I'm playing a straight A major triad in the right hand, A in the bass, and then I'm swapping just one semitone jump down with my bottom note in my right hand to A flat. So now I'm basically playing a C sharp minor chord in its second inversion. So here's C sharp minor, first inversion, second inversion. And the right hand just goes down in the same sort of fashion. So we start in A, move down one semitone, again with this style pattern. And then we open up the sound with this big chord. And this is just a straight open octave with a fifth in the middle with F sharp on either end. So, and then we go to a D chord. So this is a D chord again in second inversion. Here's your D major chord in root position. D, F sharp, A, first inversion, second inversion. So yeah, that whole progression to a C sharp minor, to a big open F sharp chord, and then finally to a D major triad. So let's take a look at what this verse sounds like along with the track.
You know how the time flies, only yesterday was the time of our lives. We were born and raised in a summer haze, bound by the surprise of our glory day.
All right, so now we're going to slow it down, and when you practice again, really think about this broken pattern and think about locking in with the rhythm of the song.
You know how the time flies, only yesterday was the time of our lives. We were born and raised in a summer haze, bound by the surprise of our glory day.
All right, so that's the verse. Now let's take a look at the pre-chorus. It uses the same right-hand pattern, but a different set of chords. So here's what it sounds like. Then it repeats. So that's the basic building blocks of the pre-chorus. Again, if we just look at everything as a solid chord right now, we have an E in the bass, and then we have sort of a unique shaped chord in the right hand. We have an F sharp, a G sharp, and an E up high. And again, that's played with that pattern. So we play that pattern twice, and then we move up to an F sharp in the bass, and then we play a very similar sounding pattern in the right hand, except we substitute this G sharp for an A. So we go, and then our middle note changes to an A. And then we go down to a D in the left hand, and the right hand just reflects that with a straight D chord. So F sharp, A, D. And then it repeats, but the ending of this pre-chorus has a little improvised kind of piano trickle that I'll show you what's going on to it. So we start off with this E chord, then that F sharp, and now we land on this D, and then it kind of trickles up to that first shaped chord, holding the D in the bass, and then it goes up, our pinky stretches up to play a big F sharp minor chord. So I'm playing F sharp, A, and then an F sharp up high. So again, we just kind of linger on that D in the bass. And then to that first chord, F sharp, G sharp, E, and then to this big F sharp minor chord. So you'll see what I'm talking about when I play along to the track.
Hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away. I couldn't fight it. I had hoped you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over.
All right, so that's the pre-chorus at full speed. Now let's slow it down, and don't worry so much about that little piano trickle at the end. It's kind of an improvised thing. If you hit it, cool. If not, no big deal.
Hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away. I couldn't fight it. I had hoped you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over.
Okay, so that is the pre-chorus, and now we're going into the chorus. And now the chorus is actually going to be this very similar to the verse. I'm just going to show you this in its solid form, but remember, we're always doing that in the right hand. So a big A chord, A, C sharp, and an A up top. And now we're going to play this chord in the right hand, so a G sharp, a B, and a high G sharp, and the left hand's going to go down to E. So we're playing a big E chord, and now we're going to play a big F sharp minor chord. So F sharp in the bass, and actually the same shape in the right hand as the first chord of this chorus. So A, C sharp, A, and now we go down to D. So that's A, D, F sharp. And this whole sequence sounds like this. So that's the pattern and the shape of each of the chords in the chorus. I'll show you what it sounds like along to the track.
Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I think I'll remember you say sometimes it lasts and loves, but sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it lasts and loves, but sometimes it hurts instead.
Okay, so that's the track at full speed. Now we'll slow it down and listen to some of the piano differences as the chorus builds. when the chorus sort of reaches its final moment and the vocals slow down a little bit, it's like sometimes it lasts in love and sometimes it hurts instead. The shape of the chords actually changes a little bit. We lose this high A and we just go no higher than this F sharp. So rather than going up to the high A here, we just stay down, right? So the highest note is going to be F sharp right there.
Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me. I think I'll remember you say sometimes it lasts and loves, but sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes it lasts and loves, but sometimes it hurts instead.
All right, so now we're going to go to the bridge, and there's a lot going on in the bridge, so I'm going to take this nice and slow for you. So a lot of crazy stuff happening, but if we just break it down in its solid chords, it gets a little more simple. The first chord that we play is a E major chord in first inversion in the right hand. So I'm playing a G sharp, a B, and an E. And the left hand kind of has an interesting choice. It plays a B note rather than an E. So, and then we lift up to a F sharp minor chord in the right hand, so I'm playing an A, a C sharp, and an F sharp, and the left hand moves up to a C sharp. So we go from this E chord to an F sharp chord, and then we go to a D chord. So the left hand just walks up one semitone, and the right hand moves to this D chord here, so it just moves up one semitone as well, again with this pattern. So it kind of alternates. It starts off with this D chord just on the F sharp as its highest note, but then it lifts up to the A. And then our bass note in the left hand moves down to play a B. The right hand plays a big B minor chord, so B, D, high B. Plays that pattern twice. And then it walks up to play an A chord. So I'm playing a C sharp in the bass, and I'm playing C sharp, E, A. Then it walks up to a D chord. And the bass doesn't move any more past this point, but the right hand plays that D chord. And then it moves up to play an E chord. So I'm going to show you what this sounds like along to the track at full speed, but don't worry, I'm going to slow it down afterwards.
Nothing compares, no worries or cares, regrets and mistakes, their memories made. Who would have known how bittersweet this would taste?
All right, so that's the bridge at full speed. Now let's slow it down, and bear in mind that the left hand has actually a very deceptively simple movement pattern here. It's just walking up from E C sharp, D, and then it sort of repeats that process. B, C sharp, D. So all the kind of fancy, complicated stuff happens in the right hand. If you want to just practice it solid to get the motions of each chord and then worry about those broken arpeggios, that's a great way to tackle this bridge.
Nothing compares, no worries or cares, regrets and mistakes, their memories made. Who would have known how bittersweet this would taste?
All right, so that's each section of the song. Now after that bridge, there's sort of a breakdown part where you're still playing the chorus chords, but instead of doing that motion, you get to give your hands a break and just kind of let the chords ring out. And as this progression builds towards the end of the song, the chords begin to move a little bit again. They go. So all I'm doing is taking my top two notes and kind of alternating them back and forth. And then that happens for a few bars, and then all of a sudden the chorus is back in full swing again with all the motions of the song. So this is a tricky song to practice, I won't lie, but if you take it as a solid chord progression before you start worrying about all the right hand motions, it's a lot easier to understand what this song is all about, and then all of a sudden you'll be ready to bring in that fancy right hand stuff before you know it. So practice each part of this song. If you want to see me jam along to the studio track, just check the link above. If you have any thoughts on what you want me to teach, just leave a comment below. And if you're a member of Pianote.com, we have exclusive practice loops of every section of this song available at 2 tempos, so you can take as long as you need to practice each part. All right, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
I heard that your